Hey guys, this is Aaron from Harmony Canine Training. How you guys doing today? I wanted to talk to you about today corrections. So, there's this big movement going on in dog training that says that we shouldn't be correcting dogs at all. That all we need to do is positive reinforcement, and that the dogs will train and the dogs will be happier, and that corrections are abusive. But the reality is that there's over 5 million dogs a year that die in shelters every single year in America. And primarily the reason of that is because they're failing temperament tests. And one, there's just too many dogs. People don't spay and neuter. That's obviously a factor. But the other factor is that people don't train their dogs. And that many of the behavioral problems that a lot of the dogs have in shelters could be easily corrected with using corrections. So when a dog is misbehaving or doing something we don't want them to do, there isn't any other recourse that we have other than using a correction. Dog training in the most simple way breaks down to two things. We are praising behavior that we want to become more likely to occur, and we are correcting behavior we don't want to happen more frequently. Okay, that's the simplest dichotomy that you're going to find in dog training. Also, operant conditioning has 4 different quadrants, which is what dog training comes from. Okay, positive reinforcement is the most popular one. That's the addition of a reward to make a behavior more likely to occur. So my dog sits, I say yes, I give the dog a reward, and in the dog, what I'm trying to do is create an operant dog. And an operant dog is one that understands there's a connection between its behavior and the inducement of a reward or an aversive. Positive punishment is the addition of an aversive or a punishment to make behavior less likely to occur. So a classic example of positive punishment is the dog jumps on somebody, I have the dog on prong, I say no, I correct, the dog stops jumping. So positive does not mean good. It just means the addition of something in terms of what operant conditioning is, or in classical conditioning as well. So negative means taking something away. So negative reinforcement is I have something the dog wants, I withhold it from the dog when they don't do what I tell them to do. Negative reinforcement. Negative punishment is that there's an aversive being done to the dog, and by the dog doing what I'm asking it to do, it turns off the aversive. This is also called like avoidance training or escape training. So this is basically when we teach a dog leash pressure. I'm pulling up, I'm pulling up, I'm pulling up. Boom, the dog sits, the pressure goes off. So negative punishment is teaching the dog that it can turn off the pressure by simply doing what we want it to do. So in terms of leash pressure, everybody sees this, right? You're pulling this way, the dog's pulling, you're pulling back, the dog is pulling forward, and because the dog doesn't understand leash pressure. If the dog understood leash pressure, they would go with the pressure instead of pulling against it, okay? So positive reinforcement dog trainers are only using 1/4 of the quadrant of operant conditioning. What that means is that you're going to have a dog, and this is what Petco trainers do. This is what Zach George does, somebody I don't like to talk badly about other dog trainers, but I think he's all fluff. I think he's full of shit, and I'm not afraid to say that because I've watched his videos, and the problem is that when you have 300 or 400,000 viewers, and they're all hanging on every word you say, and you're giving them false information, you're basically just being a snake oil salesman. And a lot of people are dog lovers, they're not dog trainers. Dog lovers oftentimes make the worst dog owners, and they make the worst dog trainers. And I've said this before in my videos, because dog training is not about loving the dog, it's about training the dog. And training the dog has to be balanced. The one guy I really respect and admire is Jeff Gellman. I think he's one of the most balanced, rational dog trainers out there. I think he tells it like it is. He's honest, and his philosophy makes a lot of sense. And I've listened to a lot of things he says with my own clients, and I've had a lot of success with it. So that's why I want to give props, and I want to give proper respect to Jeff Gellman for the information and his philosophy that he provides for people. So if you're not correcting bad behavior, the behavior won't stop. Just by withholding a reward or taking something away, it's not going to make the dog stop doing what it's doing. If the dog wants to be on the couch, he's jumping on people, and you're just not rewarding him for it, that's not going to be enough. Okay? A classic example of what I'm trying to say here, and we've all seen it, is you're walking your dog, and you're teaching the dog how to walk on a leash. You're using food to motivate. You're marking it, yes, when he's walking properly, but then the dog sees a squirrel. And suddenly that piece of chicken in your hand doesn't mean dick, because that squirrel is always going to be more enticing to that dog than any piece of food you have in your mouth. Okay, instincts are stronger than food drive, and you need to understand that. So what's the only thing that's going to get that dog's attention on you? It's going to be a correction. It's going to be leash pressure. It's going to be a prong collar, or it's going to be an e-collar. Okay, and to be against these things, to not take into account 3/4 of dog training because you don't want to correct your dog, is doing a disservice to not only your dog, but everyone that has to come into contact with your dog. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a reason why people don't want to go over your house if you have a dog that jumps on people. There's a reason that people don't want to go over to your house when you have a dog that is an incessant barker. Because it's annoying. And people don't want to be mauled when they get into someone's home. They want to have a good time. And you are offending other people by not training your dog. You're also greatly vitiating the quality of life that you have. I mean, there's a lot of dog worship in this country. You know, I'm a dog mom. No, I'm a dog owner, and I take it responsibility and accountability for the dog that I have. That's the shift I want to put in people's minds, because this whole fetish, this whole infatuation of people and their dogs is pathetic, and it's sick, and it's unbalanced, and I'm sorry, but I'm just going to be straight up. It's ruining dogs. This is one of the reasons why I walk into a dog shelter and 60% of the dogs are purebred dogs, because people think that the little black lab puppy is the cutest thing in the world, and all it just needs love and affection. And then it grows up to be an 80-pound dog, and now it's destroying things, and it won't listen, and it's destroying your couch, and now you get rid of the dog. Because you didn't know what a black lab entails. You didn't know how to train a dog. You're a dog lover that doesn't know the first thing about dog training, which is fine, but consult with a professional. Consult with a dog trainer, or watch videos and try to apply what you see with your dog. Because too many people are getting dogs that don't know anything about dog training. They're not consulting with a professional, and the dog is ending up in a shelter. And this is an epidemic in this country that could easily be mitigated, if not completely ameliorated, if we took the proper measures to train our dogs in the first place. And this all goes back to, if you choose to buy a dog, adopt a dog, get a dog from whatever way that you got your dog, you're taking on a responsibility. You're taking on a responsibility not only for your dog, but for yourself, but for everybody, dog and human, that come into contact with you and your dog. Correct your dog. If he's doing something that he's not supposed to do, there's no other way to explain to him that you can't jump on people, that you can't pull on the leash, that you can't counter surf, right? That you can't you can't put the Ethernet wire in your mouth. You can't do these things. The only way that that's going to happen is by correcting our dogs. And it's not mean, it's not cruel. It's meant to keep our dogs safe. So that's all I have to say on this. correct your dog. If you want more information, go to my website, www.harmonycaninetraining.com, or look at my Facebook page. My contact information is on there. I'd be more than happy to take a phone call, do an in-home consultation. I really love helping you guys. I like putting out all these free videos. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like me on Instagram, Facebook. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Train your dog.